First, let's talk about images versus text. Have you ever noticed that while almost everybody agrees that text-heavy slides are bad, lots of people continue to produce text-heavy slides? This is an example of a text-heavy slide. So I think the reason this happens is that the vast majority of your communication involves words and numbers. Think about your own life. Most of the time you talk to people, write them emails, text messages, and maybe you make some spreadsheets. So when the majority of your communication is words and numbers, I don't think it's surprising that when you sit down to write a deck, you reach for words and numbers. What I want you to do is the opposite. I'd like you to reach for images, and there are two reasons why. So first, images are the most efficient way to communicate large amounts of information. Imagine how long it would take to narratively describe just one frame of this video. That's a lot of information that you can either tell people or show them a picture. The second reason to prefer images over text has to do with how your brain processes information. I'm sure most of you are familiar with a serial versus a parallel process. A parallel process is two things happening at once. A serial process is two things that appear to happen at once, but in fact are happening one after the other very rapidly. Human attention is a serial process, which means that when people are watching your talk, they can do one of three things. They can listen, they can read your slides, or they can think about what you're saying. This is why having lots of text is exhausting. It forces people to cycle through listen, read, think, listen, read, think. And you know what happens when people get exhausted? They stop paying attention. Remember, images are better than text because that's the quickest way for people to absorb the information on your slide and get back to listening to your talk. Which is why instead of putting all of these points on a slide, we started this section by showing you an image of a bad slide, and we'll finish by showing you an image of a good slide.